If you're interested in making an extra 1 to 2K per month in mostly passive income, then I want to share how I've been able to do just that in the last 3 months, and maybe it's something that you can do as well. So what is it? Basically, it's renting out your car on a platform called Turo. It's similar to Uber, except instead of you driving people around, people are renting your car, which means you're earning money while being free to do other things like work, school, or even just relax. Of course, there's still some work involved, such as communicating with the renters, cleaning and maintaining the cars, and handling drop-offs and pickups. Although if you don't have the time to even do those things, or just don't want to, you can actually automate a big portion of it, and then you can hire someone else to help you with the other parts, making it truly passive. Side note, so I won't get into the details in this video, but there's actually a free app out there that helps you with a lot of this automation. And I'll be doing a separate video on how to set that up and how to set up the automations. If you're interested, you can check that out. Also, I've been working on an app which is going to help in a lot of the managing of the cars and the tracking of expenses, all of the sort of things that are required that can become a little time consuming, even with just 2 cars like myself. So who can do this? Obviously, the easiest is anyone who has a car at home that's not being used. So for example, if you work from home and your car is just sitting there, then why not have that car make you money instead? This can obviously also be an option for someone who can afford to just go buy another car to just list it and make some profit. This can even be an option for somebody who's struggling to make car payments. Rather than losing your car and damaging your credit, you can simply list it to at least make your car payment, maybe just on weekends, maybe days you're not using the car, maybe work something out where a friend picks you up a few days here and there so that at least you can get that car payment made. Okay, so if so far you found this interesting and it's something that you think you can do, then the rest of this video is going to explain exactly what you need to do to get started. So just a few quick things that you may be wondering. So just like with big rental companies, the cars will be returned to you with a full tank of gas, and if they're not, then obviously you charge the amount of gas required to fill it up to a full, as well as an inconvenience charge. The other thing is that you actually don't ever have to see the renters at all. You have options where you can deliver the car ahead of time, they pick it up, then return it, and then you pick it up on your own time, never having to see or speak to anyone at all. So getting started. So as with any other business venture, there's a few things you're going to want to look into to make sure that this is something feasible for you and that you get the best possible outcome. So number one is you want to do market research. What does this mean? Well, for starters, you want to make sure you're in an area where there's a market for it. Cars are being rented. For example, areas with a lot of tourism are great because you know you're going to have a constant influx of renters. The other thing is, are you near airports? Being near airports, if you're obviously willing to deliver the cars there, is a great thing because I feel like that is where you're going to be able to make most of your money. I know there's some hosts out there that do not offer delivery and they're still able to be profitable. And again, this is very dependent on the market. But in my opinion, one of the luxuries of Turo is that you get to get off the plane and walk right into the garage and pick up your car. And so when you offer that, I feel like you have a much higher chance of being profitable than not. So with these things in mind, you're going to want to go to the Turo site and start doing some research. So you first want to just look around and see how many and what cars are available and how many total trips they've had, their rates, etc. Then you want to see what's being rented. So in this case, as an example, I'm going to choose Atlanta, Georgia. So you want to enter a date in the next few days, preferably for a week long, since some hosts may require a minimum length. So let's say you have a Toyota Corolla, and you will see that there are 102 cars available. This is, of course, at the time that I'm doing the search. You're then going to want to change the period to something more out in the future. And now, when we do that, for example, I chose May, you can see that there's 178 cars available. And this will sort of give you an idea of how much these cars are renting. We can see that there are around 76 cars currently rented. Of course, this is not exact, as there could be a number of variables at play here, but it gives you a rough idea. And then of course you can repeat this for any other make, model. And when you do this in the future, you can play around with a lot of the other filters, such as free delivery, unlimited mileage, etc. Another thing you can do is check out Turo's calculator, which gives you an idea on how much each car can earn you in certain areas. Now their areas are a bit limited, but it may be able to help some of you, or at least give you an overall picture, since it most likely is pretty similar in other areas not listed. Then you can also scroll all the way to the bottom and do an exact vehicle make and model search. So the next thing you want to think about is insurance. And this could be a little bit of a pain. So what you want to figure out here is what type of insurance am I required to have in my state and what insurance is available to me. So the way that it works is that while your car is rented, so while your car is on a trip or you're delivering that car for that trip, your car is covered by the Turo coverage. And I won't get into too many details here. I'll do that in a later, more detailed video.
However, I will say that currently Turo offers 5 different protection plans: the 60, 75, 80, 85, and 90 plan, which vary depending on the amount of protection they offer and their cost. So for example, the 60 plan offers the most protection and has no deductible, but you only get to keep 60% of the trip total. So basically the plan costs you 40% of the trip total, whereas the 90 plan offers the least protection, has a $2,500 deductible, but you get to keep 90% of the trip total, which means that the plan only costs you 10% of the trip total. So you just have to play around with these numbers and see which one makes more sense for you. If you need help with this, just let me know.
Now, for the rest of the time when the car is not rented, your car needs to be covered. And this is a state requirement, and all states are different, which is why you need to do your research for your specific situation. So here's the situation you're going to run into when doing this research. It seems like a lot of insurance carriers do not want you to rent your car on these platforms. Some of them are now starting to be okay with, for example, Uber. So for example, here in Florida, Progressive offers an additional coverage package that you can add on if you're using your car for Uber, which they call ride sharing. However, renting your car, which they call car sharing, is something that most of them do not yet allow. Now, I've seen a lot of hosts that have these insurance carriers and are just crossing their fingers and hoping that they don't find out, so that they don't drop their policy, which they have done. However, the problem is not that they drop you. The problem is that the point of insurance is that you want it to be available, so when you need it, it pays you. For example, let's say you were involved in an accident where you totaled your car and you were at fault, which means that your insurance would be responsible. Well, before paying out that claim, they're going to do their research to make sure that they are in fact responsible for said claim. And if they find out that your car has been listed on one of these car sharing platforms, they will use that to void your policy, thus avoiding having to pay out the claim. That means that, say, if your car is financed, you're going to be in a very bad situation because now you have a car that's totaled that no one wants to pay for, but that you still owe the bank for. So what are your options? There are some options, and again, these may be different from state to state. But for example, in Florida, there's a company called ABI and Lula, which will cover your car during those times that it's not rented on Turo. However, they will only cover the car for business use. So for example, taking the car to get serviced, picking up the car, taking it to get washed, that sort of thing. And they will only allow 250 to 300 miles per month for that use. Now, I know this can pose a problem for those who would be renting out their personal cars or the only car they have, since they may still need it to run personal errands on occasion. However, like I said, there may be other options available in your state for you, which is why you really need to do your research for your specific situation. Now, I'm continuing to do research as well to see if there are any other companies out there that would eliminate this issue. And I will definitely keep you posted in comments and future videos. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll try to see what I can find out. I will say that I recently saw a YouTube video where a Lula representative indicated that this is something that they are looking into and may possibly offer in the near future. Okay, so once you've confirmed the insurance aspect, if you already have a car that you will be renting out, then you are ready to get started. However, if you don't and you will be purchasing a car, then you will need to do the following step, which is the car research. So now you will use what you learned in the first step and maybe do a little bit more in-depth research to see what car will provide the most profit and that you can afford. Once you've narrowed it down, you're going to want to start looking for cars that are available for sale in places like CarGurus, for example, which has a feature that tells you the kind of deal that you're getting into, whether it's a bad deal, a good one, or even a great one. And then if you're not buying cash, you're going to want to start looking into financing. On CarGurus, you can even get pre-qualified and see what kind of rates you qualify for. You can also see the sort of payment you can be looking into. Once you've done that, you can put it together with the Turo data and sort of start getting a feel for what kind of profits you can be looking at. So now you know the key things you need to look into to make sure that this is a viable business opportunity for you. Again, if you have any questions along the way, just leave them in the comments. Then, once you've done that and have decided that this is something that you can do, you can either take off on your own and get it going, or you can watch out for my future videos where I will go in depth into how to get everything set up. So for example, things like creating your Turo account, the settings you should be using to best optimize for your situation, things like pricing, delivery options, trip length, availability, writing your description, and much more. I will also go into detail on how to create and set up your CarSync account, which is a free site that connects to Turo and really facilitates a lot of these required things, such as requesting reimbursement for tolls, which is very time consuming, as well as sending out automated messages to the renters and much more. I will also give a preview of an app that I'm creating, which will help manage the entire process, as well as track expenses, payments owed to anyone who's helping. It will provide analytics that we don't currently have that would help show which cars are more profitable, how much are you spending on rental expenses versus maintenance, etc. So I was basically tracking everything on a spreadsheet, and I quickly realized that I did not want to spend that much time, nor did I have that much time to be spending, and that's just with 2 cars. So I really think that this app could really help not only myself, but others, since it seems like most people are still just using spreadsheets. So hopefully this is something that you can do as well. And if so, I hope that I've provided enough information to get you started. But again, if you have any questions, just please leave them in the comments. Also, once you get this part done and you're ready to go, please let me know that you're ready for the detailed video on how to get everything set up. Thanks, and remember to subscribe.